Hi, you're watching Floyd Steinberg's YouTube channel, and today I'm trying to create a piano sound on the Elektron Digitone. And you already heard the resulting sound in the beginning of this video, so you can decide yourself if it's worth watching this. And yeah, let's go! Okay, this is the Elektron Digitone. It's an 8-voice, 4-operator FM synth with Elektron sequencer built into it. And I want to create a piano-like sound today, and the first thing I want to do is to reset the sound, create a new sound. So I hold down the track button over here and press clear or play. You can see it says clear track 2 sound, and now we get a sine wave on this track. Okay, and the first thing I want to get right is the amplitude envelope. So we want to recreate the behavior of a piano here. So on a piano, when you hit a key, the sound will begin immediately, and if you release the key, the sound will stop immediately. So we want a short attack, and you can see the upper row of encoders is corresponding to this display here. So this is attack, this is decay, sustain, release, and we want a fast attack, a short attack. So I can dial this in with this encoder, and I want a fast release, so I can use this encoder on the right side to change the value on the right side. Okay, and now we want to get decay and sustain right, and sustain is the behavior of a keyboard instrument when you hold the key pressed. And on the piano, holding the key will not sustain the sound. The sound will slowly fade away. This is called decay, so we can set sustain to 0 using this encoder. Okay, and as I already said, the decay on a real piano is very slow. So if you play a loud note on the piano and hold the key or press the sustain pedal, the sound will ring out up to 2 minutes before it is completely faded away. So let's go with a real high decay value here, around 90. And now let's listen again. Okay, you can hear I hold the key down and it slowly fades away. I release the key and the sound dies down immediately. Okay, so far so good. What I want to do now is to set up the drive a little bit higher. This will help us later in the process, because now the sine wave is a little bit distorted, which will add some overtones in the higher frequency range. You can hear it, it's a little bit brighter now, but it's not distorted yet. So that's it for the amplitude envelope and the drive. The next thing I want to change is the setup of the operators, the algorithm, and the ratio. Okay, let's set up the operators. And to do this, we change to synth page 1 over here, press this button. And the first thing I want to set up is the algorithm, and there's a standard algorithm for piano sounds on VFM synthesizers, and that's this one. There are 2 carriers, 2 modulators outputting on 2 different branches, and we'll choose that. And at the moment the mix is set, so only the X branch is audible. So let's change this one now. So we have this value centered at 0. So now we can hear both branches of operators. There's no difference in sound yet, but that's because we haven't set up our ratios. And I'll only change the ratio of these 2 operators here. So we'll have the carrier playing at the normal octave, but the modulator will work at 1 octave higher. So it's a 1/2 ratio here. Let's change this. You you can hear the difference in sound. Okay, the next thing I want to change is the volume of the modulators, which is possible on synth page 2. So let's press this button now. And if you change the volume of the modulators, the sound will get brighter. So let's change this. First off, the first branch. We'll go all the way up to 116 on this one. This is a very bright sound. And on the second one we'll go to around 70. Alright, now you can see there's an amplitude envelope for each branch of operators here. So what I want to do now is to have this very bright sound only in the beginning, because if you play on the piano, the hammer will hit the string, resulting in a bright sound which quickly fades away to something more subdued or mellow. So we'll want to change the decay phase on the first branch to something very short, like around 10, and then the sound will get a little bit duller. So we'll take away the volume of the carrier to around 80, like this. You can hear it sounds a little bit like a banjo now. And on the second branch of operators we want the same effect, but less pronounced. So we'll have a much longer decay phase, and we'll go all the way down to around 50 with the volume of the modulator. Okay, so far so good. Let's return to the Synth 1 screen now, and let's adjust the harmonics. This is an option which is unique to the Elektron Digitone. You can change the wave shape a little bit, so it sounds like a square wave or like a saw wave. So let's change this. This is more like a square wave, and this is more like a saw wave. Let's go for around 10 here, like this. Okay, and now let's detune our operator slightly, which will add some richness to our sound, which is also found in pianos, because once you hit one key, the other strings will resonate with it. So it's a simulation of that behavior. Okay, let's detune it to around a value of around 50 will go well. You can hear the sound is slightly richer and deeper now. And you want to add some feedback to operator B. This will change the carrier's sound from a sine wave to a saw wave slightly. So let's go for a value of around 25. And the last thing in this chapter is to slightly detune the carrier sounds, so the sound will get even richer. There will be harmonics audible if you do this, but don't overdo it. We go for around 0.01 on operator C and maybe 0.012 on operator B. So like this. Let's listen again. You can hear there's something going on there now. Yeah, that's the setup of the operators. Next up is the setup of the filter. Okay, let's go to the filter page by pressing the filter button, and you can see we've got the filter envelope with attack, decay, sustain, release, filter frequency, resonance, the filter type, and the envelope emphasis. This value will determine how much the filter envelope actually affects the filter settings. And now, yeah, let's dial down the filter frequency first. Now, value around this would probably be okay, but I want to work with the filter envelope, so let's go down even further to somewhere around 50, like this. Now this is much too low on volume, so let's increase the volume here a little bit. And yeah, I want to use the filter envelope, so we have to adjust the value here, so to around 6.5, like this. Now you can see the filter envelope is affecting the sound. I can make this even more pronounced. This is too much. This is still a little bit too much, so 6.5 is okay. And now, yeah, let's adjust the actual envelope. So we want to have a fast attack and long decay on this. So let's go with something around 60, like this. And we want a long release time too. Let's just go for 64. And yeah, the second thing we want to do is to set up the bass width of the filter. This is like a sort of bandpass filter, so we'll use this to reduce the lower frequencies a little bit, so this thing doesn't distort when we play in the lower octaves. This is too much, so let's take away some of the bass frequencies of the low frequencies, like around 50 here. Yeah, I think this is okay. Yeah, and that's it for the filter. Okay, we got a filter set up. Now let's set up the LFOs. Press the LFO button and now we can choose two destinations for our LFOs. So the first destination is going to be the level of the A branch of our operators. This is Syn A level. Choose this by dialing the encoder and then pressing it. Now let's change the wave type to sine wave, and the speed should be very slow because we're dealing with a piano sound here. Don't overdo it. Around 28 maybe, and the depth around 1. Like this. And now the second destination is the pitch of the overall sound, and this is Syn pitch. So let's search for this in this list here and pitch all. There it is. And dial down the speed to 0.02, and the depth shouldn't be too high either. This is too much, so let's go down to 0.01 and change the wave to sine wave once again. Let's listen. Alright, LFO set up. Okay, we've got our LFO set up, and now let's configure the velocity sensitivity of the sound. To demonstrate this, I've connected my Rephase CP as a MIDI controller to the Digitone. Now let's make the sound a little more responsive. And we can do this by pressing the function key and then the trigger key while holding it. And now you can see there are options for key scaling. Let's care about these first. What this means is the volume of the operators, you can see here, will change according to the note you play on the keyboard. So if I go to a higher octave here, the sound gets too bright, and we can circumvent this by adjusting the key scaling. And let's dial in some values here. Let's go with 20. Let's go to a high octave to hear this. Okay, now key scaling B should be around, 27. And for B2 it should be around 68. And now you can set up the same thing for the filter. So let's adjust that so the filter responds to the note you're playing. And this should be around 57. All right. And now for the actual velocity sensitivity itself. So here's the option for that. Let's press yes to enter this menu. Now you can select a lot of destinations for the velocity, and I've picked some. The first one should be the level of synth B. So let's change this and press this, and let's change the sensitivity to something around 14. And the second destination should be the harmonics. So let's look for this. It should be synth harmonics. Where is it? Here it is. And the value should be around 70. So let's go for this. All right. And the next value should be the filter frequency. So let's go down to filter option here, and here's the filter frequency. Select this, and oops, that was why filter frequency, where is it? Here. Okay. All right, and the last one should be the amplitude drive, or amp drive, like this. And now let's get a value of around 20 for this one. So now if I hit the keys really hard, sound will be substantially different from the one when I hit the key really slow. You can hear the change there. All right. And last step, let's add some effects. You can do this by pressing the amp button 2 times, and let's add a little bit of chorus, a little bit of delay, and a little bit of reverb. And we're done. Let's listen. Yeah, and that's it. It doesn't really sound like a piano, but it's very playable, and I think it's very usable in certain scenarios. So there you have it, Digitone, piano sound. Thanks for watching. Yeah, and that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this and found this useful, and if you did so, please consider subscribing. And next week I'll do a comparison between this and this, because why not? Yeah, and if you're interested in that, please consider subscribing too. Yeah, and yeah, that's it for today. Hope you have a good week. Bye bye.